And welcome everyone to the Cybercast. This is your host Harlequin, aka Peter, coming to you live from Cyberpunk 2077 online.news. I have a very special and highly requested guest. Before we do that, though, just a little bit of house cleaning first and foremost. I know everyone was really looking forward to the Rome Kanda, aka Goro, interview. He unfortunately had a change of schedule with his filming, so that had to be rescheduled. We're looking toward the end of this month, so definitely keep an eye on the site. Also, our Twitter at 2077 Online News. And we'll definitely post when we definitely nail down Mr. Kanda again. Also, interesting side note, some of you might know Tristan Mays. Now, while she was not in Cyberpunk 2077, she has been posted on the internet quite a bit as a lookalike for Pan Am, and she's also a gamer. Interestingly enough, she saw one of my posts. She reached out to me, and apparently she wants to come on the Cybercast for an interview. So apparently we're going to have Tristan Mays on here too, talk about acting, gaming, and her interest and experiences with Cyberpunk. So keep an eye out for that as well. And lastly, we are all in the No Voice Motel Room. If you want to hop in there, we will be taking questions for our wonderful guest. Please note, hold the questions till near the end of the interview, where I will then tell people to post their questions. That way we don't get flooded with questions in the early parts of the interview that we will already cover, and then it's just a big, turns into a big mess at the end of me having to sort through valid and invalid questions. So please hold that. My mod here, Floppy, is here. He will be keeping an eye on things. So please let's, while we're very excited to have our guest, let us keep it relatively PG-13. Thank you so much. And with that said, our guest is Mr. Jason Hightower. He has studied improv theater at several schools, including the famous Second City Theater in Chicago, where he understudied on the main stage. Some of his commercial work includes Target, Universal Studios, and Ford. Some of his most recent acting credits include Ralph Breaks the Internet, Star Wars Resistance, Victor and Valentino, Red Dead Redemption 2, Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition, and of course, why he's here, Cyberpunk 2077 as the lovable BFF Jackie. Jason is also a graduate of University of San Antonio with a bachelor's in chemistry and is published in the Journal of Physical Chemistry. Jason, thank you so much for coming to us. I am so excited to have you here.
Wowee. I had no idea. I just forgot about all those things. 4 decades of life. Thank you for having me.
No, I thank you. And for all those who are wondering, Mr. Jason is not partaking in the adult beverage, but like the proper guest that I am, I'm taking one for the team for you, Jason. And
yeah, I appreciate it.
It's all right. I am partaking in a little Sam Adams Golden Ale.
Ooh, very nice.
Very nice. To you, sir. To you and Jackie. Because no, I was going to get all fancy. Honestly, I'm going to tell you.
Did you pour it in a? You poured it in a nice mug?
No, I'm doing Jackie style, right out of the bottle, my friend. Okay, in honor of Jackie, right out of the bottle. Because would Jackie really pour it in a glass? Really?
No,
come on.
No, he wouldn't.
No, fuck that. No. So that's how Jackie. Yeah.
Although it would be kind of funny if he did, if he was like a real connoisseur.
Real, right? Would that be hilarious?
Like the glass needs to be chilled, eh? Something like that.
Yes. Oh my goodness gracious, that is too funny.
But you got the credit. I'm trying to think. You probably went to a bio somewhere or something, but that's probably the most full intro I've gotten to date. So kudos.
Well, I appreciate it. Well, everyone needs to know, give you the accolades you deserve, and that is one hell of a bio. So I commend you, sir. That's you've done, and it's funny too because when you were here, when we were just testing the connection yesterday, well, we chatted for about 15 minutes, and you said actually before you got into chemistry, you were actually going to become a medical doctor.
Right. Well, actually, during school, I was actually also studying pre med stuff, so biology and physics
Hmm.
and all that other stuff. So yeah, fun stuff. I kind of actually before that I auditioned for Juilliard. I was 19. I auditioned for Juilliard in Chicago, but the school's actually in New York, and just decided to go down south and get a traditional education. And I was like, let me pick something that is extremely difficult, because if I can overcome that, I could probably, overcome anything or get through anything. So it was kind of like a personal test for myself. And then I ended up really enjoying it. And later on ended up teaching the MCAT.
Nice.
So helping kids get into med school, which was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm glad we started here because this is really what I wanted to. This is a good starting point to really understand. So, two things I want to ask. One, what was the person or event that got you passionate about acting to get you on the path you're on today? And also on the parallel question, what transpired growing up that got you interested in the sciences?
Wow. Uh, I would say that it's kind of always been a thing. I've always been voices and stuff. I used to beatbox a lot because it was the 80s, and breakdance. I was a break dancer.
Right, right.
And so yeah, and it was really a lot of performance stuff. My brother's 6 years older, so when he was out there kind of doing his pubescent stuff, like chasing girls at the roller rink, I was left to my own devices and cardboard boxes. So I would just create essentially. And I I watched a lot of SNL when I was around 10 or so.
Hmm.
So there were a lot of influences there. There was Billy Crystal used to do this character named Fernando, and it used to be a
Oh
play.
yeah,
It'd be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Welcome to Fernando's Hideaway," and he did like
Yes,
he
yes,
did
I
a
remember
Spanish
that.
accent and the whole thing, and you look marvelous. You really do. I must say, he'd do that stuff, and he'd interview people, and he would just say that. And so I would try and recreate sketches and things like that. Probably like a lot of early comedic actor people were probably inspired by SNL.
Hmm.
A lot of them probably wanted to be on it, so it's a pretty common thing. And the science, boy, I don't know. I think that just came a little bit later in life. It was just kind of a forced thing. I didn't know it very well, so I wanted to learn it. And it was hard, really hard for me. I was around people that, were in studying chemistry because they were really good at it.
Right, right.
And here I was going, what's that? How is this? I don't get it. And so I had to work probably twice, three times as hard, and ended up getting through it and then doing research. And while I was doing research, it was a job from an old advisor. And while I was doing that, I was studying up on, at that point, I was like, I don't want to go to med school. I want to go study um, comedy. I was doing stand-up comedy at the River Center in San Antonio, and at that point, I was like, I want to study improv because it's more ensemble based, it's more
Hmm.
team oriented. And so I just did all the research on it. And while I was, mixing things in the lab for the research, I was reading books on Second City and Improv Olympic, and just the history is pretty phenomenal. It goes back to the 50s, the University of Chicago and all that stuff. So
Interesting.
boring the hell out of people.
Yeah, no, no, no. I find it interesting because I really wanted to explore this because I find this fascinating about your background. You also have mentioned in the I was listening to another interview from you a few weeks back, and you
Yeah.
mentioned your dad was in the military, a naval aviator, and you
Ooh,
traveled around a lot. Did
whoa.
that influence? Did all that basically being the a literal nomad because being a military brat, growing up in
Yeah.
that field, did that influence you at all when it came to
Oh
the acting or
man.
comedy?
Profoundly. I mean, just in life in general. What a great question, and the fact that you found that is pretty cool. Um, yeah, the military background, moving around a lot, can't make friends. You make friends, you're moving. So that's
Hmm.
out. Um, I really loved kind of observing people. Everywhere you go, there's different colloquialisms, different expressions, different people. People look different. We moved to Guam. I spent half of what was it, sophomore through senior year on an island going to high
In the middle
school
of the Pacific.
in the Pacific. Yeah, and man, talk about a culture shock. I mean, it's island life, and there's rules, especially
Really?
amongst guys. Yeah, it's a very there's a lot of machismo. It's kind of like the Mexican culture a little bit. The guys are macho, macho, macho,
Really?
and there's just rules and things you got to follow when you're there. And there's territorial stuff, all that. But it's a beautiful culture and a beautiful place to go to high school. My goodness, a lot of Japanese influence, Filipino influence. Just a real, definitely a melting pot for sure. But moving around oh man, definitely had an impact on just seeing what kind of different characters are out there in the world. So I've always been an accent guy. I like accents. I like to try and master them if I can.
It's
So
funny you say that because I've listened to some of your demo reels and such in preparation
uh-huh.
for this, just to kind of get a vibe of the range. And you do everything from very neutral accent to very really drawing into that your Latino background. So
Right.
there was like some commercials. I was like, oh my god, I didn't I could very barely, if at all, pick up any accent. It was very neutral. Um,
A lot of people think I'm from the Northeast. They say I have kind of a New York vibe, but I'm like, maybe it's the slicked hair. That's what it is,
it's a cool mustache.
more than
That's
anything
really.
else.
Let's be honest.
But
If
yeah,
any of you folks have not seen his main headshot, he is looking like Rico Suave, super cool with this awesome mustache. I mean,
I look
I wish I
surprised.
looked half that cool in my pictures. That's all I'm saying.
I was caught, surprised. You can catch me.
Yeah, there it is. Floppy just posted it
You
in
can catch
chat.
me. You can catch me.
And it's funny. I was gonna bring this up later, but
Good
now
stuff.
that
Now I got to look at that for the next whatever.
it is peak
Perform-
exactly, Floppy. It is peak
that peak
performance.
performance mustache. You need Jackie Tonic. Peak performance.
Peak performance.
Yeah. Magna PI.
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't even put that together, but now,
That would have worked too, by the way. Theme music, intro theme music. Magna
yeah,
PI.
Magnum PI, absolutely.
I
You
was
know,
gonna say another real quick. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
no, go
But
ahead, go ahead. No, no, this is all about you, my friend.
another thing about being, in the military kid is, and the not having the friends part is, you tend to internalize a whole lot, so you get to spend a lot of time by your lonesome,
Hmm.
and it can sound pretty sad, but if you're a highly creative person, it's like the most comforting place to be
Hmm.
is kind of alone with your creativity. A lot of cool things can happen. So for those people out there that think that you need to have people around you all the time, sometimes you need to get rid of the noise and start to hear and amazing things can happen. That's all.
No, I could not concur more.
A moment of inspiration.
A moment of inspiration from Jason Hightower. what would be hilarious if you wrote an inspirational book and then you got Emily Wu Zeller, the woman who did the voice of Pan Am, because her bread and butter is doing narration, not so much
Narration
acting,
for
but
books.
oh yeah,
Or
yeah, she's like a multiple award winner
oh
for
man,
narration. And so
that's
you get
hard
Pan
work.
Am to read your inspirational book. That would be,
Mm,
oh, dude, come on, come on. That's printing money right there.
I mean,
Printing
or I
money.
could just read it as Jackie. I
Or
mean,
just read it as
that's pretty good too.
Jackie. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's even better. That would be awesome. Oh my goodness. Um, so getting back to that though. So you one thing that kind of clicked when you were mentioning it is you said you wanted to go for chemistry because you really weren't good at it. Is that kind of a personal motivation in your life? Like, hey, I'm not very good at this, so I want to get over that hurdle. I want to overcome
Yes,
this. And is that a driving factor?
for sure. At some point, and I can't super pinpoint the exact moment, but I feel like I've been for a long time a person that is, I very admittedly am afraid of things. Uh, I think a lot of actors get, stage fright or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but if you can push through it and go towards the fear, I mean, you grow so much, it's not even funny. And so that's what I do. And I always know, I always feel the fear or whatever. And I go, oh boy, here we go again. But I always know that that's the right path to take. It always pans out. I always learn something from it. So yeah, that's what I did. I guess with the chemistry thing, it was also I was pre med. I mean, I from a young age wanted to do plastic surgery. I wanted to do reconstructive type stuff, not necessarily cosmetic, more than like cleft palates and
Right, right.
stuff like
Actually
that.
helping people that need
Yeah,
need help.
yeah,
Right. Absolutely.
and it changes their lot. I mean,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
naturally, obviously, but didn't my dad later said, "Son, your heart wasn't in it. That's really what happened. You could have gone to med school." I had an opportunity to go to dental school because my dad's, a dentist. My brother's a dentist. Good
Right.
old dentists in the family,
Right.
and there's a different route you can go where you can get an oral surgery degree, so you get an MD and a DDS. I think I was a little too much on the status of it more than the actual work of it. I was like, yes, I'm going to be a doctor, and you will call me doctor. It
Dr.
wasn't that
Jason.
it wasn't that bad, but you can see it, and the other people that are also in it with you in those programs, they're very much like that. When you're in your early 20s, it's really hard genuinely say, I want to be a doctor because, versus somebody who's maybe 40 telling you why they want to go to med school or be a doctor, right? More life experience. It's mostly parental encouragement, let's say. You're going to be a doctor if I have anything to say about
Jackie would make a great doctor.
it.
I
Yeah.
think he'd be an awesome doctor. I mean, I trust his knowledge of the human body? No, but his bedside manner? Oh,
Yeah.
he dates that. He
I'm going to need you to put this on for a second. Don't worry, I'll turn around. A little creepy.
yeah, just a little,
Oh, you
But
you want me to
that's Dr. Jackie. That's just Dr. Jackie.
you want me to use gloves? Ah, híjole. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Now that you're bringing that idea to realization, I'm somewhat regretting that might
Right.
not be a good idea.
Dr.
Yeah,
Jackie. Maybe a dentist. More
maybe
like, open up. Okay, open
Jackie
up.
DDS.
Everybody comes out of the clinic, just everybody's got gold caps.
That's his
Caps
fix for
everything.
everything.
You know what would look better? Gold. Pure gold.
Here we go. Oh my goodness. Um, So, we talked about
Are
following
we
up
doing?
on your inspirations.
I'm answering your questions, right?
Well,
Doing that.
whatever, whatever. We're just however you want to do it, my friend. I am just immensely enjoying this, so it doesn't
Oh,
really
good.
matter.
Excellent. That's all I need to hear.
um,
Go on.
no, I did want to bring this up because again, during our brief chat yesterday, I mentioned this to you, and you said I hit the nail on the head. That I
Oh,
felt your inspirations talk, and again, kind of keeping on with your motivations and inspirations topic. That I said I felt my first impression when I first heard your voice doing the demo when you first did Jackie in the demo. I said my first impression was you sounded like a young Edward James Elmos. And you were
yeah.
like, oh my, and you were like, yeah, that he was part of my inspiration for Jackie.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think in a maybe in a bigger sense, I would say, not just Jackie, just as a in a bigger sense as an actor
Mm-hmm.
too, as well. I there's no way that I could say that there's nothing in there that's not, that doesn't have a little bit of Edward James in there because we're all influenced. I mean, artists, period, are influenced by others, and he has been for, you know, since the first time I decided I was going to audition for Juilliard. So yeah, I mean, come on, Stand and Deliver. If you've never seen, for those of you listening, Stand and Deliver. If you've never seen that movie, you got to see it. It's even got a young Lou Diamond Phillips in there,
Yes, yes, it's
who I
true.
believe is Filipino. He's Filipino, right?
I
He's not
want to
no,
say
he's
that's a true
Filipino.
statement. I
Yeah.
feel that's a true
So
statement.
it's kind of cool that he's, which is wonderful, I think, for actors to try and stretch and play roles outside of even their own culture. Dare I say?
Mm-hmm.
It was a different time then. I don't know if it would be allowed in today's world, but I loved him in that. I love Lou Diamond in that. Um, and it's based on a true story about a guy teaching some kids, some inner city kids, calculus. Calculus is what he says.
Yes.
Calculus.
I love Edward James Olmos, and there is not one thing he's been in that I was like,
Come
oh,
on,
I didn't enjoy that. I didn't like that.
Captain Adama.
Captain Adama. Oh my God, he kill it in Battlestar Galactica, the reimaged Battlestar
And
Galactica.
I
He.
didn't
Oh my
even,
God.
I'm not, I would never even give myself the distinction of nerd, but my wife introduced me. She's definitely full on uh, to BSG, and because it's BSG, guys,
Yeah.
and I was blown away just by the show itself. But
It,
so thrilled when he was in it. I'm
oh my
like,
God.
yes, what a Latino admiral.
Yeah. And the gravitas he brought to that role.
Oh man, and that's the thing, because you don't see him as a Latino admiral. You see him as this leader. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's how you know you've got something good.
Speaking, kind of following on that, when you decided to get into acting, was it stand up voice acting specifically, or did you envision yourself, hey, no, I want to do the whole Hollywood and the, big screen productions kind of acting
Yeah,
and,
I don't. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, I don't think it's ever thought out very well. I don't think a lot of people pursuing acting think it out. They think out the end result in terms of maybe celebrity and money,
right?
but not the cost and the cost of all of that, because there's a cost to everything.
That's true.
It's not that glamorous. But certainly on camera stuff for sure. I never even thought that you could do that. Even when I was in college, and I was, at times I'd go and hang out at a friend's house that wasn't studying for the MCAT or in college or whatever,
Hmm.
and we'd just play video games, and I'd be playing like Metal Gear back in the day. That was when I was studying, so do the math on that one. And you're hearing voices in these video games. You don't realize that people are. I just assumed the people making the games were also doing the voices. That they actually had actors doing this stuff was beyond me. So had no idea. So yeah, it was just all, forward. I knew comedy was probably going to be what I would ultimately pursue because I enjoyed making people laugh. But short from that, you can't really know where you're gonna land.
Do
So you're on the wings of love, man.
with a splash of love, a
Yeah.
splash of love. I can't do a Jackie. Only you can
Also a
do the
great
Jackie,
film.
my friend.
A splash of love.
You know that's like a iconic line. His
I
drink. You realize that, right?
I don't. I don't
Oh, people love that
unfortunately.
line.
Yeah.
People repeat
I
it
don't know.
all the time on social media.
I have a cousin recently that it's still and she's in San Antonio. She's a psychologist, and she said her sister, my other cousin Natalie, she goes, "Hey," she said, "you're on the cover of on the front page of Reddit," and I was like, "Huh? I don't. Okay. I hope it's good. I
Yeah.
hope it's good. That could mean anything.
Yeah.
There aren't pictures, are there? Please."
No, no.
Um,
Jackie, and to those listening, just so you know, when Jason was not really aware how well received his role was. We'll get into that in a minute. But what I do want to talk about how the whole cyberpunk adventure began. So when we were talking to Jeremy Lee, who did female V Valerie,
mhm, mhm.
she said that it was very hush hush, very secret. She was brought in for the demo, and she was felt there was no guarantee that she was actually going to be the voice in the main game. That this was perhaps a one and done, one shot just for the demo. Was your experience very similar to hers, or how did all that transpire?
100%. That's almost exactly that. You couldn't have put it better. It was secretive, as most projects are, though. It's not. That wasn't unique to that one project.
Hmm.
It's a demo. It's for a thing, and you're auditioning for it. Okay. So I auditioned for Ripper, the Ripper Doctor, and
Oh,
I had a,
Vic. Yep.
I had a, I had a character, a person in mind, like and most people won't know this guy, Chris Christopherson.
Oh
He's
yeah, yeah,
like down
absolutely.
here and just kind of, get over here and kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Jackie, who said was kind of a Latinx, around with it, and I thought for sure the Ripper Doctor because it's in that timber or whatever. And sure enough, they said we want you to do Jackie, and I thought, wow, okay, interesting. At the time, it seemed a little two-dimensional because it was just the demo. So
Right.
I didn't get a whole lot of information about his backstory or who he was. He's just a guy that was like yelling out pendejo and and, and stuff like that. So I thought, okay, I hope we can create something that's human and not go down this stereotypical type stuff.
Right.
But it's a job. And so in that regard, you'd go, you do your job, you do the best job you can do, always, no matter what. Even if it's you're a demo, nobody's going to see it, it's internal, whatever. Because, I mean, as we know, things turn into other things, but always do, your very best. And that's what we did. It was a demo and had a lot of fun with it. Started to breathe life after the demo, but really, I think throughout the process of creating it, I was already just developing. I guess we all were developing it as we went along, which is pretty amazing to do that. It was a good experience there with the demo, and then the demo came out,
Hmm.
and they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna have you come in again." Okay, I get in there, and am I in this game or what? Yeah, you didn't. Nobody told you? Like, okay, just do your job, Jason. There's never time for celebration where you're like, "Oh my God, none of that. You do the job. When I saw the demo, I was like, "Oh, it's for this game? Wow, this is amazing." I had no idea. I had no idea what it was even for. There was nothing to suggest it, and a lot of it was in its infancy. A lot of the models and the 3D environment and that kind of stuff. So it looked a little, you know,
Probably rough around the edges.
it was definitely, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the development process. So
Did they have some
you're,
concept art for you to at least to see what they envisioned Jackie to look
yeah,
like?
they had the whole intro of the demo and everything. It was, the 3D world. You're in there. No, not a lot of textures and stuff like that. Obviously, that probably comes in later. But yeah, it was, you know,
So when
just
when they finally came back to you and said, "Oh yeah, by the way, you are in the game," and what and
not
so then
like,
you had to get down to
no,
brass tacks.
yeah.
What did they give you more backstory by that point, so you could kind of bring that to the role, or was it just basically you just had to kind of just use your improv skills and just kind of develop all this in your head?
It was a lot of that. It was certainly a lot of that. Some of the dialogue, obviously, as we came back into the game, I was amazed. I was like, wow, this is now we're learning. I'm learning more about him just through his interaction with V and Misty and other characters. Uh, yeah, you don't know what you're gonna get script wise until you walk in. So yeah, the improv does come in handy. It's very helpful to a degree. I mean, you can't just go full on off the script and hey, screw the script. Let me just go. You can't do that. But to a degree,
Did they
you
give
know,
you any room to have fun with the script, or was it not word for word?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That was one of the things that they had mentioned. Jason does improv. Let him play with it a little bit. So I sat in there with the director, and he's a young guy, really great, helping me get to that, find those moments. And there were a lot of moments. I didn't realize it would be such a dramatic role, comedic role. It's there's everything in there for an actor. So I was very grateful to have done it, to have been able to do something like that. That's why when people come back and tell me they've enjoyed the character, it means a whole lot because we put a whole lot into it.
Oh, and you know
Maybe
the
like 4 hour sessions. So and they went by so fast,
did they?
so fast, so fast. I just blink and I'm on what? Yeah, we gotta wrap it up. We got like maybe 5 minutes, and I'm going 4 hours, really? Huh? Because you just get so into it. You're
Right.
in it.
I
What were you saying?
really, I really liked the relationship, even though you only see glimmers of it, just a little bit. But I really like the relationship between Jackie and Misty, and I wish we got to see more of that. Misty is such a wonderful character, and the actor who plays her, I'm drawing a blank. Chat can help me out here. Um, but she does such a wonderful job. Did you have her lines to play off of, or did you record your lines before she did?
I always recorded alone, but sometimes we would have the recorded lines and then I could feed into that. Or,
That must be so much easier as an actor to do.
yeah, yeah. But again, if you're not used to doing make believe in your brain, um, then it's, you don't have anything tactile, anything visual to work with in the environment like you would see for an on camera actor. It's just a different, I guess, skill set, but you got to use your imagination and really believe it. But yeah, that Misty gets me, man.
Yeah. Erica Lindbeck. Thank you, chat. Yes, Erica. She. I've reached out to her. I tried to get her on here too. Yeah. I just. This is what I say about Misty. She's the soul of the game. Um, Even after Jackie's death, while certainly she's upset and she's saddened, she doesn't let that grief crush her. She just takes it as, you know what, this is just another stage in life. This is how the world is. And, I can either wallow in misery or I can do what Jackie would want me to do and hold my chin up high and move forward. And it's, again, I definitely wish we had more of Jackie, but I absolutely also wish we had more of Misty and Jackie's interaction, because you could see again. I don't know if you had her if, those interactions you actually had her
I
to
did.
play
I
off
did
of,
have some.
but
Yeah, later on down the road we did. And
the emotion you guys convey in your little back and forth. I mean, I could just feel that, like, wow, these characters really. Are really attached at the hip. They really have empathy and love for each other, and that really came across very strongly.
good. Yeah, that was definitely the intent for sure. Yeah, she's one of those easily we discount not just characters but people like that. Uh, Unfortunately, and they end up being, I mean, these are human beings, and they end up being the most impactful. And that's what I love, the way they wrote that. So a lot of this goes to the writers, for sure, in creating all this.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've mentioned it several times, both to Emily and Jeremy, that my first playthrough, I was literally brought to tears on more than one occasion because of the writing and the acting. I mean, it goes hand in hand. Um, I'm sure as an actor, you can only do so much with bad material, and vice versa. You could have Oscar-worthy writing, but if you just have the wrong casting, it's not going. It's not going to work either. You got to have, in my novice view of the profession, it seems like you have to nail both. You have to nail both the writing and get the right casting. And if you get that lightning in a bottle, you have magic. And I feel like with this game, 99% they nailed it. They not only got the writing, but they did whoever the casting director was deserves kudos, because they got the right person for the right role.
Yeah, I mean, very in order to be immersive, I guess, for interactive, for video games, you need that story. You really do. It really helps get you in there, and it's oftentimes not really regarded, right? Because most game devs are thinking, listen, they want guns and maps, okay? Words, words, words. Relationship, not so much. Okay, let's get back to the guns. And so they managed to to do both, to create a story that people can get invested in, and provide a playing experience. I guess they're still working on some of those things, but I have the utmost confidence they will get to that. Finish it all up. And
Oh yeah, there's I've said multiple times. Yes, there's some technical issues and such, but there's nothing in the game that I feel is not fixable. With enough will and time. And I also feel that there are vastly more strong points than there are weak points in the game. And some of the strong points, the writing, the acting, the characters. Those are award-winning level performances and writing, and that is something that no matter all the other pros and cons aside, uh, that is the core of the game, and it's a story-driven, character-driven game. Yes, there are guns and action and this and that, and you can talk about that, but you know to me, the soul of the game is the characters and the story and the writing and the hits to the fields. And if that's the kind of game you like, then this game brings it absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, one of the, I guess, as you were saying that, I'm thinking this didn't feel like a corporate type environment. This felt like a very intimate labor of love.
Oh, absolutely, and it came off
Amongst
like that.
all the creative folks that I worked with at CD Projekt Red, it was they really cared about everything. They wanted to make sure, even with Jackie, that all the Spanish was correct and that that we were doing this right, and that just gave me more oomph and excitement to really do my very best to to get it right.
Oh, and as I said, I think you hit the nail on the head. And the fact that Jackie, and even though when the demo came out, everyone knew Jackie at some point was going to die. That was not a spoiler. And
Or maybe die, or maybe somebody could, maybe
yeah,
not.
maybe not. Yeah, it was ambiguous, but
That
definitely,
mystery going.
yeah, there was definitely there was definitely a option. And and even though a lot of people thought, okay, that's very possibly an ending. Um, Even with all that said, people with Jackie in the first chapter, people became so attached to the character, and he became so loved, and there is so much, and so much appreciation and attachment to the emotional attachment to the character. It really says a lot to not only, of course, the writing, but of course your performance. Because again, going back to that, um, you brought such warmth and charisma to that character. You couldn't help but love the character. I don't think there's too many people who play the game. They're like, oh yeah, either was indifferent about Jackie or didn't like him. The vast majority of feedback I've seen has been just a lot of Jackie love, and how and people saying they wanted more Jackie. That they wouldn't mind if one of the expansions was a prequel and to do more with Jackie, like V's and Jackie's adventures before the heist, before the heist mission that went sideways. Um,
Yeah, I made the error of suggesting an idea, and then the next thing I know, it's like, this just in: Jason Hightower demands to be back.
oh, I saw that. I saw
Like,
that.
it's okay. Well, I guess you guys have to get your clicks.
Yep, yep. Oh, jeez, yes,
Just
yeah.
in, he says, you'll accept this or else.
Or else.
I'm like, I hope those CD Projekt Red guys are like, not thinking that. I think they have bigger issues to deal with than bringing back characters or anything. But I did mention a way to do it, and I was like, through a algorithm or something like they do Johnny.
Right.
But I'm certainly pleased with what I did, and I'm okay. Not returning. It's okay. I'm not fighting at the bit or anything.
But I'm sure everyone here in chat would really really love more with Johnny. Again, I mean, you could bring him back with a prequel. A mission before the heist or some.
Sure. I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities for my character and other characters and things like that. So I'm sure they will consider all those things
Oh,
to
I'm sure. I'm sure. And
keep
and and you
Hightower
know,
happy.
game developers. What a lot of people don't realize is game developers are not oblivious to trends on social media. And when they
No,
see
they listen to everything.
characters,
They listen to everything.
they listen, and they will. And if they feel, hey, not only is this what the community wants, but we can make a few bucks off the idea. They will find a way to make it happen.
That's
Um,
what's great about gaming right now in today's world is that we have fully alive video games. They aren't, I mean, cartridges, that's it. What you see is what you
yeah,
get. There's
exactly.
no patches, okay?
Nope,
In
nope.
some senses you could probably say that it was harder to make them back then because once you lock it in and
Oh,
it's in a
it's yeah,
cartridge, done deal, sorry.
yeah,
But now it's a fully living, breathing entity. So, I mean, think of all the mods that they have for GTA and that that came from basically GTA 5, right?
yep, yep.
It's this all all that and but new expansions and you know uh, patches and things like that. So anything's possible, and the gaming community plays a part in that. When I think of a game that I have been playing for a few years since probably 12, 13 years is World of Warcraft is it's the same thing. They listen to the community and they
Hmm.
build things based on that. Even features within the game, right? Like interfaces and add-ons and stuff. So the community plays a huge role in shaping what games become today, a lot more than before where it's like, here's a cartridge, you're going to like it or screw off.
Nice. So, folks in chat, we're going to be wrapping up my part of the interview. If you have any questions for Mr. Hightower, please post them in chat, and my mods they will pin them, and we will get to some of them as we can. One other thing I did want to talk to you about as it pertained to Jackie. Now we talked about Edward James as part of your inspiration. What other sources or inspiration did you pull while while building his character in your head?
I would say I didn't have to go too far. I have my uncle Richard, who's rest in peace, was definitely an influence because he would always have, and I can't think of any right off the top, but he'd always have these Chicano expressions that he would say. He's like, "Mijo, mijo, tell you something," and he would just love telling me, "What do you call this?" or "What do you call that?" or whatever, and that was definitely an inspiration because he'd start to tell stories, and they would always become heightened. It would involve just a stroll to the grocery store, but then somehow a shotgun and cocaine would start to, get involved, and then some guy from prison and somebody's girlfriend, and yep, yeah, I think I could pull some of this Jackie stuff in there because he's very. I think Jackie's seen so much that he's
And he's
definitely
done some time. I feel
yeah,
he's done some time.
sure, yeah, definitely a from street smart guy.
And I don't say that as a bad thing about Jackie. I just think,
No,
he was part of the Valentino gang, so I
it's a
think it's
unique experience. It's a
yeah,
unique experience, and that's what shapes us all.
exactly, exactly. Now, why do you think? Because let's be honest, Jackie is a when he befriends you, or he puts you under his umbrella, you are you're pretty much golden. You have a BFF for life. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and he would definitely take a bullet for a close friend. I feel, or anyone he loved. Why do you think he, even with his street, and this had to be something you had to think about, I would think, why with his street background, he didn't end up just quite frankly being a a giant ass clown, a total, jerk, that he could have fallen down that path. Why do you think he turned into this charismatic, lovable, tough, definitely a tough guy, definitely someone you don't want to, fuck with, but also, a guy with, a pretty open-minded, pretty empathetic, loyal person as well. What was there anything you thought? Was that something you kind of thought about?
I think that characters. I always try when I think of characters, even if they are, and we've probably heard this from other actors before, more definitely famous ones, where you got to find the thing that is likable to you about the character, even if it's a bad character. He's the antagonist or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be something human and redeeming going on with that person in order to play him, because nobody's, well, I don't shouldn't say nobody, but most folks are not just horrible people within and throughout.
Right.
There's
Shades
some
of gray.
quality about 'em, right? Yeah.
Right.
And so wanting to play him like that wasn't really didn't really need to be a choice. It was like I got to find the likable elements of this person, even if he may have done things that aren't so likable.
Okay, that's fair.
Also, you're going to be hanging out with this guy for a while, so
Yeah, he kind of had to have some charisma.
This guy, would he shut up already? The last thing you want to see is a streamer going, God, how do I turn this Jackie guy off?
Oh no, the vast majority of comments have been, no, we want more Jackie. Why doesn't Jackie say more? No, trust me. There's
Careful what you wish for.
Oh geez, now this is all of a sudden, see, now people are going to take that comment, and the next thing you know, Jason Hightower confirms Jackie DLC. Confirmed. Oh man.
Should we do some of these questions?
Yeah, let's get to them. So, let me look at these questions here. Floppy wants to know, what character would you love to play, in general, not necessarily, doesn't have to be with Cyberpunk?
I have some characters that I have developed over 10 years worth of a few different characters of my own that I would like to get out there in the world. I've been working a little bit independently on ZBrush and Blender,
Mm-hmm.
even a little bit of FL Studio to get some of the musical elements behind it. But I'd like to. That's my goal here. My company is Bogey Studios, so this is where we make all of those creative projects. So the character I'd love to play are the ones that I've created for sure. And so to be continued.
Nice.
To be TBA.
On that note, I'm following up that, if you could have swapped roles with anyone else in the Cyberpunk game, what other character would you'd like to take a shot at?
Johnny Silverhand, man. What are you
Wow, that's a bold choice, but I like it. Now, what kind of accent would you give Johnny, if any, or would you keep it like a very neutral?
I'd probably try to do it exactly like Keanu. What's going on? No, he didn't do it like that.
No.
He'd probably still be low and gristled. I mean, Keanu did it a little low and gristled.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. All right.
Did Jeremy tell you his motorcycle story?
When he pulled up and she was too afraid to get out of the car?
Right.
Yes.
I never had an interaction with him, but I would hear that you'd know he was coming because
with his motorcycle.
The rumble of his motorcycle.
Did you have any passing in the night encounters with him?
No.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I would have,
Would you have gotten out of the car and said hi to him?
I don't generally jump after stars.
That's fair.
Try to treat people as people, no matter who they are.
That's fair. That's actually more than fair. King Haji wants to know, what was your favorite Jackie line?
You would ask me that. It's the sad thing about my mental condition is that he has a mental condition. This just in. Jason Hightower confirms. Is that I get in there, I do the work, and I forget. I forget. Although I do remember him saying, I'm never not serious." When he's in the car. I don't know what lines. Pendejo!
Oh, it could be the drink. I tell you, the drink line. You can't go
Did
wrong.
that one? Did that one in the? I thought there was a demo. I don't know if it stayed in the demo, but
Right.
early on, I watched Doctor Disrespect.
Mm-hmm.
He's going through it, and I yell out "Terminado!" and he's like, "Yeah, Terminado!" I was like, "All right,
um,
that's a line, right?"
if not, it should be.
Terminado.
um, Wraith wants to know, what was it like recording separate lines for the different kinds of reactions to the same situation? Say being pissed in one line and happy in the other.
That would go back to this mental condition I have. Uh, that's part of the acting.
I guess he wants to know, like, what is like jumping around. Is that hard for you, or is that easy to you? Go from hot and cold emotionally.
It seems easy when I'm doing it. It
Okay.
seems pretty easy. It's like whatever it calls for. Okay, you're joking around, you're yelling, and now sometimes they'll save the yelling stuff for the end so as not to tax the voice.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, okay.
But
That's interesting.
emotionally, I don't know. I think it's jumping back, and then at the end of it, at the end of that 4 hour session, I'm driving home, and I'm going, why do I feel like I just got punched? It really it does. It takes it out of you. I certainly wouldn't complain. It's not any like harder jobs in the world, so certainly not complaining. Oh, poor you. You had to go through emotional.
Drago Trent wants to know. Basically, I'll paraphrase the question: are you Team Judy or Team Pan Am?
I'm team indifferent here. I'm.
Wow, that's a controversial answer right
Hey,
there.
I'm team the more. Hey, everybody, come on, let's do it. There's plenty of room in the jacuzzi. Come on now.
For both
Don't,
Pan Am and Judy is what you're saying.
don't make me pick.
um,
Rude.
would Jackie have a? Do you think Jackie? His real question was, would Jackie have a preference?
Oh man, you're gonna get me in trouble. Well, considering Jackie is not about the exteriors, okay?
Okay.
He's very much at the heart. I think his heart is with Misty, okay?
That's what that's honestly, in my opinion,
He'd
that's the
probably
correct
be
answer. Because
other than that,
if he would like cheat on Misty or anything, I would lose a lot of respect for Jackie as a character.
in his reptilian hetero brain, he's probably going for some booty. He's
Okay.
probably a booty man, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, then we kind of know
Just
we know where that goes. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Um,
Jason Hightower confirmed.
let's see. Oh, Jalopy wants to know, if you could craft your own drink at the Afterlife bar, what would it be? I think this is not necessarily. I think this is Jackie aside. This is, what would Jason Hightower kind of drink would he want at the Afterlife bar?
You're asking, Boomer Dad to make it. I haven't drank in. It'd have to be some high quality aged something, right? Worth drinking, worth the moment. You couldn't just
When Jason was drinking, was he a tequila person like Jackie?
Jason was a whiskey guy,
Whiskey, interesting. Okay, so a nice aged whiskey then.
yeah. But
Okay,
I liked my share of beers.
okay.
My belly didn't much, you know. The aftermath of
Yes, the aftermath is always what gets you. It isn't. It isn't during. It's after that gets
oh,
you.
Deering's fantastic.
Yeah,
The aftermath is
yeah.
so the furniture has been rearranged, air quotes, and there's a few broken windows.
Don't know how that happened. Mystery. It's a mystery.
Also, you're very mean when you drink.
uh, let's see here.
Single Ardbeg single malt Scotch.
You
Yeah.
answered some of
Well,
these others here. Juanita wants to know: was there any point during recording that you strained your voice to the point where you lost it, and if so, how did you manage?
well, there's breaks between recordings, and again, they know. These are also pros that are the engineers, the director. Like, okay, let's save that. I'm like, I think I might have this much before I'm Mr. Froggy, and and so they did a good job of that. So there was never a moment like that. I will tell you though, there was one experience I had with another video game where I had to do. It was like 18 pages of just orc sounds and yelling and straight through for almost a couple hours, and I was shot after that. So again, poor Jason. So sorry. But I tend to I think I've ruled out no more orc shouting. Thank you.
that that's probably a good. That's a good life choice. I think in general, I think that's probably a good life choice. Now, I mentioned this to you before we started recording.
Did
Uh,
you? Are you sure?
what's that?
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, um, our longtime listener here, Disney. She had a pretty bad breakup, and she would love if Jackie could give her a little encouragement and advice.
Okay. So, hey Disney Fox. So listen, I know you're having a little rough patch right now, you know. Well, let me tell you something, okay? You just keep driving through that tunnel, eh? You hear me? 'Cause there's plenty of light at the end of it. Orale.
There you go, Disney.
And and
Jackie,
scene.
Jack, and scene. I love it. Um, and not that I want to take advantage of that, but one other thing I'd be remiss if I didn't give a little love to my boy Fen. It's his birthday, and being the huge Jackie fan he is, could Jackie give him a little happy birthday
Ben?
acknowledgement?
Ben?
Fen
Hey, Fan. Happy birthday, cabrón. Orale.
and scene.
You're old as shit, man. Oh, and scene.
Oh, old as shit. I love it. I love it. There you go, Fen. There you go. Oh my goodness. All right. You know what? I think uh okay, one last question. We'll end it off with here because this is kind of
Let's
interesting.
do it. Let's
This is
do it.
kind of interesting. Hyper wants to know, kind of quoting one of the character, the who's the fixer, Dex, quoting paraphrasing Dex. He would like to know: would you live in peace as Mr. Nobody, or go down for all time in a blaze of glory? Asking this as you, Jason, not Jackie.
But I've been Mr. Nobody most of my life, so I don't know much of a difference. I'm not really a big
I love it.
hey look at me, but I mean I still live my life like blaze of glory, passion 100. So I hope that answers your question.
Nice.
But I do like being a little below the radar. I mean,
That's fair.
unfortunately, that's just not gonna happen.
Well, I think all actors. Again,
Tell my wife,
we
I tell my wife, I'm like, I can still kind of just, stay. She's like, shut up, okay, Jackie. I'm like, all right, get out there and do those interviews. Shut up. She's not really mean.
No, just out of curiosity, and I say this, one of my day job, I'm an IT engineer. My job on the side, which I've done for 20 years, I'm a professional tarot card reader, which is interesting because tarot is very associated with this game, as you may be aware.
Yes, I've heard that they
Yes.
got it right on that. That they really put something into it.
Oh my goodness, scarily accurate. I mean, there's a few things I could critique, but 95% is very on the very accurate. I was very impressed by not only the accuracy of how they associated the tarot cards with particular people or events, but with respect they gave them. They didn't fall into a lot of cliches. For example, in tarot, the death card is that actually a relatively positive card. It really has nothing to do with literal death. It's all about figurative death. Basically, the ending of one chapter and the beginning of a new one. That's really what the death card's about.
Sure.
And that's what they did. They used that death card as a card about transformation and new beginnings. And I just and the respect and the research they put into it, I really found. But anyway, the reason I was bringing all that up is just out of curiosity. What astrology sign are you?
Oh, that's such an easy question. Thank you, by the way. I am Cancer.
Cancer. And that
Also not a bad thing.
no, not at all. Not at all.
No, Cancer
being a water sign, water signs are generally very creative. So that really fits into a lot of what you said about your improv work and your your stand up live acting and thinking on your feet and like that. That actually makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense.
I'm also left-handed, and there's a lot of lefties in that world.
Yes, that's true too. So interestingly enough,
all types of artists.
Yeah.
Lefties.
Which means that your right side of your brain is the dominant side of your brain.
Correct.
Right.
I have. I think my corpus callosum is in pretty good shape, which is the stem that connects the left and right.
Oh.
I won't go further into that.
Well, you are the chemistry major, so
just thought I'd throw a little left curve. Did he just say corpus callosum?
Yes, he did.
Right? How do you spell callosum? What's going on? Is this real?
Oh my goodness! All right, with that, I feel that's a great place to end it. Jason,
alrighty.
I greatly appreciate this. Anytime you want to pop in, say hello. You're absolutely more than welcome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks to everybody here for coming and listening to Mr. Nobody.
No. There's a lot of Jackie love, and definitely a lot of Jason love.
I do want to say I really appreciate you folks for coming in and listening, and of course yourself, Peter, for hosting this and tracking me down. I appreciate that, and just thanks for enjoying what it is that I enjoy doing, and much more in the future. If you do get a chance, it just came to mind, okay? Because I'm not Mr. Self-Promoter. I'm really bad at it, as you can probably guess looking at my social. It's okay. I also play the biker in black on a Netflix show called Kid Cosmic, so check that out. I'm like in the 7th.
Yeah, and I was so excited. With all the impersonations, I lost track. Promote yourself, my friend. Your production company. How can people get in touch with you? Your socials anything you
Yeah,
want to promote, anything you want to promote, upcoming
yeah.
projects,
I mean,
you take all the time you need and tell the masses what's going on with Mr. Jackie.
I think these folks know it's J Bogey is my Twitter, and J Bogey Hightower. I sometimes post stuff. I haven't lately, but you never know. I might throw something up there. There's some fun videos, experimental stuff that I did with a friend, Christopher Sean, who's is the lead in Star Wars Resistance. So we did some fun cowboy stuff, and also a thing called Juckmo, which I don't know if a lot of people check it out, but it's got visual effects and stuff that I actually did myself, and we shot it on an iPhone. So fun stuff. If you wanted to check out some of the other things that I'm doing, that's on my Instagram, Jabogi Hightower. Other than that, thanks again, everybody. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thank you, and we will catch everyone next time.